Yeah, I wore my best Viking shirt.
We like it. I
Not
like
just
that it's casual, cool colors, but still gets the point across. Awesome. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Law for Lunch for November, entitled Welcome New Lawyers, Your Bar, Your Benefits. My name is Tamara Nash. I am on faculty at the University of South Dakota School of Law, and I serve as our State Bar CLE Chair. I am delighted to be joined by May Pochop, sorry, May, our Young Lawyers Section President, to co-present this program today. Before we dive into the substance of our program, I have a few highlights that I'd like to remind you of. And first is a reminder on our wellness services for our state bar. Do you or another member of the bar or a law student have a issue with drugs or alcohol or have a mental health problem? You can reach out to Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers, which is a confidential and independent resource for South Dakota lawyers, law students, and their families. Your referral or visit with Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers is confidential and privileged. You can reach out to Becky Porter for more information at 605 391 5191. And lucky for you, Becky will also be joining us today to tell you more about that. Becky is a Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers member, and your communications with her are confidential and privileged. You also can reach out to 988, the hotline for mental health support, to talk with a mental health professional, or the Sand Creek Employee Assistance Program at their confidential crisis telephone line at 1-888-243-5744, where they have mental health professionals available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our Law for Lunch today will last about an hour, and we would be delighted to take your questions. So if you have a question, feel free to type it in the chat. We'll either take it up if it's timely and relevant to what we're talking about, or we'll hold it for the end. We will actually reserve about 10 minutes for questions at the bottom of our program. So before we jump in, I want to just thank the State Bar of South Dakota and CLE Incorporated for their support in making today's program happen. So today, what you can expect is a broad overview of the State Bar of South Dakota, who we are, what we do, why we do it, as well as hearing some remarks from some of our bar leadership and bar staff, and then learning a little bit more about the State Bar South Dakota Young Lawyer Section from our ever so delightful president of the Young Lawyer Section. And then we'll talk a little bit more about getting involved in the bar, what that looks like, how you might explore the different paths available to you. And then we'll do a quick review of the various resources available to you as a bar member. But before we get started, we'll have a quick welcome or remarks from a few of our bar leaders and bar staff. So with that, I would like to invite President John Richter to give us a few remarks. John?
All right. Well, no pressure, right? So we're good to go. So I guess number one, just wanted to welcome everybody and thank you for joining this presentation today. These are kind of the presentations, I think when I was a younger attorney, I really did not attend and did not participate in. Not necessarily a ringing endorsement one way or the other, but what I can tell you is I did get involved with the bar, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And at that time, I started thinking, okay, we've got members out there, we've got lawyers out there. Everybody's kind of in the same boat in terms of practicing. Everybody's kind of going in the same direction, but everybody's path is a little bit different. Are there ways that I can help, other attorneys along the way? Are there ways to make this legal journey a little bit more enjoyable? So what I started doing way back when is I got involved with the administrative law committee, and it was kind of a rough committee at the time. It was, hey, show up quarterly. We're going to look at the mission statement. And hey, does anybody want to update the mission statement? Well, no, we're good. And then, okay, break. We can meet and interact for a little bit. And it felt like there was something a little bit missing. So, there were a couple chairs who took over, and then finally I had my chance. And I said, well, if I'm going to be active and I'm going to be involved and I'm going to be engaged, we got to change this up because, it's not really a good use of an hour. So what I started doing was actually reaching out to various people, and I started with Neil Fulton. And I said, hey, Dean Fulton at the time, would you like to come talk about administrative law with the committee? And he said, yeah, certainly. And we had a chance to visit and meet a little bit beforehand, and we started developing that relationship. And from there, I started doing public servant spotlights. And again, what the bar actually did was allow me to reach out and open doors to different attorneys I normally would not have interacted with one way or the other. And you start building those relationships, making those connections, and it gets to be a very rewarding experience. So, it's one thing I didn't get involved early. I wish I had done it much sooner. But if you're involved and active with the bar, there's committees, there's sections that, are available for every interest. If you're looking for that kind of in to just say, hey, attorney so-and-so, why don't we sit down and visit about this subject or that subject? I think we do have a very passionate bar. I think people are very passionate about what they do. And to this day, doing 3 or 4 years of public servant spotlights and reaching out to various attorneys saying, hey, can you help me out? Or can you be a presenter? Or would you be willing to assist here or there? I only have had one no, but beyond that, everybody else has just very graciously donated their time and their efforts. And, by getting involved with the bar, definitely a very different cross section. And it's definitely something I wish I would have done in retrospect much sooner. So along those lines, I'll make the usual plug that, if you're interested in getting involved, Alyssa does a great job as bar services coordinator. So she manages all the committees. I'd really encourage you to reach out to her. If you're wondering where you fit one way or the other, or, want to just bounce ideas off in terms of different interest levels, I'm always happy to talk about those sort of things. Feel free to reach out to me. And then, you got Mark coming in, and he's going to be president-elect. He's president-elect right now, so he'll be president next year. He's going to do all the appointments. So I got to do all the appointments this year, and I still do have appointment power. So, if any of you are thinking, hey, should I join the committee or not? I've really gone towards a more inclusive approach for committees. So if people are interested and they're willing to bring their passion to the table, let's go see what we can accomplish. So again, thank you all for being here, and appreciate your service. So.
Awesome. Thank you. With that, I'll kick it over to Mark Haigh, who serves as our president-elect. Thanks for being with us, Mark.
Thanks for having me, Tamara. And thank you for putting this together. And thanks to everybody who attended. I think it shows that we have people interested in being in the bar. And so as John and Tamara said, I'm Mark Haigh. I'm the president-elect. And so one of my duties this next coming year in 2026 will be to appoint committees. And so the bar doesn't work without people serving on committees. It doesn't work without volunteers. And we have a lot of really good volunteers that just make this whole thing run. Tamara and May are two of the top people who just keep doing things and keep helping us. And so we really encourage you to become involved when that form comes out. And I think Tamara's going to tell you during the rest of this session exactly when it'll come out and things like that. We're going to appoint people to committees. So I'd really encourage you to find some piece of law that interests you. As John said, you're welcome to call me or he or anyone else on the bar if you have questions about where you might fit in or which ones are the most interesting, because we'd really like to get volunteer support. And I think that starts with getting on committees. And so please fill it out. Please get involved. And the bar doesn't work without, again, people like May and Tamara and many, many others who keep it rolling. So I'm glad you're attending. It shows that you're all interested in getting involved, and we just need that support. So thanks again for inviting me to speak, Tamara.
Awesome. Thank you both for being with us today. And you all heard it from the top that we need you involved, and we'll dig into more of what that looks like and how you might do that here in a bit. Our next person up will be Alyssa Blasius, who will tell us a little bit about who she is and how she supports our bar through her capacity as bar services coordinator. Alyssa?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yes, so just a little background. I am newly barred. So for all of you who are attending who just passed the bar exam, I'm right there with you. So it's really cool to see things on the other end, working through the state bar and working with other committees and other leaders who are chairs and program chairs. Really cool to see the back end of how all of this process comes together and then is presented to members in the state bar. So I'm really happy to have a role in each of these events. And as bar services coordinator, my focus really is committees and sections. So what I do is I will usually be in any or all of the meetings. I will make sure that initiatives, whether it's handed off to the state bar or mostly led by the committee itself, that they're seen, from start to finish. If there's any new initiatives, new laws, or proposals that are coming up, I can familiarize myself with them and also be an aid if needed. And, if there's any events, mixers, CLEs, which I would work with Tamara Nash, who is also the chair of the CLE committee, send those initiatives or ideas over her way, and the CLE committee will likely take over and be able to walk through and have an awesome CLE event in the future. So that's my primary role. If you have any other questions as far as, okay, how do I get involved? Everything will begin in January. So you'll be getting a committee preference survey, and you'll be able to fill that out, and that will be open for a few months. So if you need to learn more about committees, or hey, what does this committee actually do? What have they done in the past? Or maybe I want to be a leader in this committee. That's something you can absolutely call the bar office, ask for me, or send me an email, and I can help you through that as well. So really excited again to be in this new role as a new attorney and being so immersed in all of this. So thank you to everyone who's attending. We really appreciate it. If you've seen all the posts and the reminders, I'm hoping it's getting that messaging out there to get more involvement because that is my job. So really happy that you're here, and I'm happy to be here. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Alyssa. And the social media and all the posts have been fantastic. Thanks for all you do. All right, so we've started with the ultimate ask of get involved, we need you, which is true. But you might ask, how do I do that? Or why does it matter? Or what is a state bar? Well, I'm so glad you asked. That is what we're going to start with. Picture yourself in an amusement park, and you look at a map and you see the picture of you are here. That is where we're going to start with orienting you to what is the South Dakota State Bar? What do we do? Why does it matter, etc. So we'll jump into that, and then we'll talk more about the different avenues you might consider exploring and getting involved. So I wanted to start with first just a reminder of who we are as a state bar, our purpose, our charge. And I won't read this to you. We're all lawyers. We read all day. We have a ton of information available to us all day. You can reference SDCL for the thick of who we are, but just a reminder of, the high standard of what our bar, we're a mandatory bar, calls us to do is uphold the honor of the profession, to encourage adequate preparation for our practice, and to promote cordial intercourse. So this, I think is kind of a lovely reminder of the community of who we are in pursuing serving justice and our professional conduct. Our bar was founded in 1897, originally South Dakota Bar Association. In 1931, we became a integrated or unified bar and went under a name change. We are established under statute under 1617, if you want to brush up or memorize any of the pieces there. We, of course, operate under the supervision of the South Dakota Supreme Court, and we operate as a 501c6. We are a mandatory bar, as I mentioned, so any person practicing law in the jurisdiction of South Dakota is required to be a member. And we are responsible to the South Dakota Supreme Court for admission and discipline process for any of our attorneys. Our membership, active members, is about 2,800, and of that, young lawyers are about 750 members. And I believe when I checked with Tracy about a month ago, that was our last number. So that might not reflect our new admits in September. So I'm sure that number is just a little different. And then, of course, there's a plethora of benefits that we provide our members. But one of the primary is our CLEs, our continuing legal education benefits that we provide members at no cost to membership. And we'll talk a little bit more about how you as a member can get involved in suggesting or supporting CLE implementation in the bar. A couple quick references to the documents that govern the bar. One, our bylaws, and two, we have a 5-year strategic plan. We just actually updated a strategic plan. I think that's a typo. I think it should be September 2025. And those help guide our purpose, our values, what we do, and how our committees, sections, and governance execute our day-to-day. Our strategic plan identifies our vision, which I've put here. And if you're curious, you can also pull up the strategic plan on the website that goes through each of our strategic goals and then kind of sub goals of how we'll execute and pursue those goals. It's pretty interesting and also is a really cool way to see where your interests might align with what the bar is currently doing and hopes to one day achieve. We also have a set of organizational values that we've adopted as a bar. They are integrity, professionalism, inclusion, transparency, responsiveness and innovation, compassion, and collaboration. And then this is a quick screen grab of those 3 primary strategic goals that we've adopted as a bar. And then that's on the left side. And then you can see on the right side, we have several strategies or action items of how we hope to advance those goals or achieve those goals through the work of our governing body, our committees, our sections, and our members. So just a quick reminder or flag on some relevant deadlines. Of course, our bar staff is wonderful in reminding you, sending out letters or emails to you. Your account online will flag this for you, so no need to commit it to memory, but just putting on your radar. Our bar year begins after our annual meeting in June, which happens the same time every year. Bar dues are due each year annually on December 31st, and certificates of compliance are due annually on January 31st. And bar staff are fantastic in working with you, explaining to you how to complete those forms, what they look like, etc. So a quick overview of our bar staff. You, of course, heard from Melissa, but we'll go through. Our executive director is Paul Kramer. He's located in Pierre. Our strategic plan coordinator is Carrie Sanderson. She is also in Pierre. Tracy Bradford is our director of operations, also in Pierre. And then we have Alyssa, who you've heard from and get to see today, our bar services coordinator. We also have Taylin Bradford, our member services coordinator, and Brooklyn Drewis, our administrative assistant. And then we have 2 other fantastic bar staff members who support our members, Becky Porter, who's our lawyer's assistance program director, and Delise Langley, who's our pro bono coordinator, who many of you may have heard or will hear from certainly with A2J, our Access to Justice program. So kind of a quick overview of the structure of our state bar. We have our executive director, which has general charge and control of the day-to-day affairs, also serving as secretary and treasurer. We have our elected officers, which you heard from our 2 elected officers today. We also have our bar commission, and you'll see a slide of who those individuals are who have been elected to serve. And they set our budget, control expenditures, oversee governance of our bar, and manage the business and affairs of the bar. And then we also have our sections and committees, and then you all, our members. And those are the different entities that make up our bar. Again, state bar officers, you've heard from those two lovely individuals. And then we have our bar commission. Our bar commission is comprised of individuals who represent each of our judicial circuits, as well as several at-large positions. And when we send out all the slides, it'll include various hyperlinks for a plethora of resources. This one here will include a link to each of the bar commission pages. You're always encouraged and welcome to reach out to a bar commissioner to just have conversation, but also to weigh in. Say, for example, there's a action item up for consideration at the bar commission meeting or at the annual business meeting. You as a constituent are welcome to give your feedback and have contact with and discuss items with your commissioner. So I mentioned state bar committees. This is one of the primary or more popular buckets in which new members tend to get involved. We have 34 committees as a bar. The next slide will have a hyperlink to a list of the committees as well as mission statements so you can know more about them. But pretty much anything you can imagine, we have it. So criminal law, family law, CLE, there are so many, and they capture most of the buckets of things you might want to be interested in. Our committees are created by the president to promote policies of the association and conduct the affairs of what we do. They're comprised of bar members who volunteer their time. You're appointed on a year-to-year basis. And we'll talk a little bit more about how you can be appointed and what that process looks like. We also have 4 sections of the state bar. So to be a section, the section will be created by our bar commission, and it's created when there's a group of people who have sufficient interest in an area of the law, and we establish that there's a sufficient group with that interest or field, and then they're created to basically be a forum to exchange information and promote that area or interest. So for example, the young lawyer section or real property, probate and trust, public sector, or in-house. So it's a group tethered together by a common interest, common practice, or demographic kind of station in practice. You may hear from often several different groups who are partners, tethered to or connected to the state bar in various capacities. South Dakota CLE Incorporated, A2J, shorthand for Access to Justice, our Bar Foundation, Disciplinary Board, Judicial Qualifications Commission, or JQC, Board of Bar Examiners, and then our Rural Attorney Recruitment Program, all supported by and propelled by members of the bar, judiciary, and encourage you to learn more, explore more. There'll be hyperlinks for you to learn more, but just want you to know that if you hear these names, these are entities connected to and tethered to the bar. So we'll talk more about getting involved in committees and sections in a minute, but want to kind of move our map in the amusement park to young lawyer section specifically. And for that, May will tell us a little bit more about that. And May, just tell me when you want me to advance your slides.
Okay, thanks, Tam. So hello, everyone. I'm May Pochop. Like Tam mentioned, I am president of the Young Lawyers section this year. Our year runs, it coincides with the bar commissioners. So in June, we will elect new officers and members of our board of directors. So I have been president since June, and will hand off the gavel this coming June. So first and foremost, I want to welcome you all to the bar and also to the Young Lawyers section. Tam, if you want to click to the next slide here. So you all are likely automatically members of the YLS already if you meet one of these criteria. So all licensed attorneys under 36 years old and all attorneys admitted to practice for less than 10 years are automatically members of the section. It's free. You don't have to opt in or sign up. We already welcome you with open arms to all of our programming and events throughout the year. We also include all law students at USD as affiliate members. So they're welcome to come to all of our events and benefit from all our programming. They're just not eligible to vote. let's go to the next slide. Perfect. Um, so here's a little bit of background on YLS. This is our stated purpose. Like Tam said, we are a part of the bar, and our section functions independently. But in all things we do so to promote the purposes of the state bar and that strategic plan of the state bar. So I won't read this in its entirety, but essentially it boils down to YLS's purpose to connect young lawyers with each other, to find mentorship with experienced attorneys, to find educational materials and programming geared specifically to newer lawyers. And we also serve as a liaison between the American Bar Association. They have a Young Lawyers Division on a national level, and our state organization. And we also act as a voice for young lawyers within bar leadership. So we work with the bar commissioners frequently and attend meetings a couple times a year. And if you feel comfortable reaching out to one of the young lawyer board members, we really mirror the bar commissioners. Sometimes we're called the baby bar commissioners, as far as our board goes. So that's kind of the main objectives of the Young Lawyers section. We can move on to the next slide, Tam. A major program that we want to highlight is the Hageman-Morris Mentorship Coin Program. This is an avenue for you to get involved in the Young Lawyers section right away, but prior to any other programming that we have scheduled. So if you are interested in signing up to have a mentor, the Young Lawyers section has a form that you can fill out. There's a link here, and there's also a link at the end of the slideshow to sign up for a mentor. You know, you likely have attorneys at your firm that are providing mentorship for you, or attorneys. You might be in a smaller firm and don't have as much opportunity for mentorship. But the Hageman-Morris Mentorship Coin Program is really purposed to, regardless of mentorship that you may find within your firm, pair you with a mentor outside of your firm. Because there's real value in having a mentor that can provide candid and insightful guidance for young lawyers that may not be within easy reach of the young lawyer. So how that works is you sign up, we'll pair you with a compatible mentor, and then we'll actually send you an informational packet with suggested conversations and activities. And it looks like the State Bar just sent out the link as well in the chat, so check that out too. But we'll send you an informational packet that will help guide that relationship. You can use it to the extent that you wish. If you want to have a more formal program, or if you'd like to just have more of an informal relationship with your mentor, there aren't any specific requirements that you need to pass in order to be part of the program. And then we'll also send you a coin, and the coin represents an acknowledgement of your trust in your mentor, and really formalizes that relationship. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out. And if you have a mentor that's already established outside of your firm that you'd like to formally recognize, you can also request a coin or a guidebook, and we can match you in that way as well. Perfect. Here's some of the other programming that we put on throughout the year. The best way to stay informed about Young Lawyers events is through the bar newsletter, and also through each of your circuit reps, who may send out social media posts or emails specific to your circuit. So in the fall, we have the nuts and bolts CLE, which is held the same day as the statewide swearing-in ceremony. So if any of you attended that, you already have experience with that programming. I mentioned the Haigh Morris Mentorship Coin Program. We have the Young Lawyer of the Year Award every year at the annual convention or annual meeting. Circuit mixers. So each circuit has a mixer in the fall and the spring. So make sure you stay in touch with your circuit rep and look out for those events in each circuit. We also go to the law school. We help out with some of their events, either sponsoring monetarily or attending and promoting events at the law school. We have the YLS boot camp, which I'll have a save the date for in a couple slides. That's coming up in the spring, much like the nuts and bolts CLE. It's a day long of CLEs really geared towards young lawyers. And we get really fabulous feedback on those CLEs. So be on the lookout for that. And then we have a few events at the bar convention, networking events, social events, and our annual meeting is also held during the bar convention. So the board, I've included all of our members here. So we're the individuals who are organizing the programming and running the section. Please take note of your circuit rep and feel free to reach out. Ensure that you're looking out for emails and events in your circuit. And if you have any questions about getting involved in the Young Lawyers section, getting a mentor, please feel free to reach out to any member of the board. Like I said, we run a little bit differently than the other sections and committees. To get involved in the board, we run elections that coincide with the annual meeting. So we'll put a call out for nominations and elections in the spring. I believe that goes out in around May. So you're welcome to be a member of any number of committees and then also run for a board position. So finally, yes, save the date. So we're going to Deadwood in March for our boot camp. It's a day of CLEs and networking and socializing, camaraderie with other young lawyers. And we invite all members of the bar to come to our social networking event at the end of the day there. So it should be a really fun time and informative time for young lawyers. So hope to see you there.
Fantastic. So I'll tell you a little bit more about getting involved, broad strokes, with the big bar, but I'll echo and just underscore what May said. I think getting involved in the young lawyer section is fantastic. It's definitely the best professional choice I made in my career. Had a wonderful experience and wonderful opportunity. So encourage that to be your first stop, but also encourage you to consider involvement in the broader bar. So why get involved? One, it's a critical part of our membership to serve and help support our bar, support the profession. And just so you're aware of what's expected of you, I'll run through that. One, to be actively engaged and participate, and that's a spectrum of what's asked of you or what is needed of you based on what you're participating in. So know that whatever your time commitment is, there's something for you to do. It's not automatically 20 hours a week, right? There's definitely a spectrum of time and energy commitments. And so there's something for everyone. You just have to find your fit. Of course, responsiveness and certain positions do ask that you provide reports to staff at kind of the mid-year and end of year of what you're doing and working on. And that's generally for folks who are, a committee chair or leading a section, not just every member. It's important important for volunteers to be communicative and coordinate and work with staff. They house, the institutional knowledge of the bar and how committees or sections work. So working and coordinating with them is great. And then, of course, being creative and having ideas and having passion about getting involved in serving the bar is needed and helps advance the bar. So bring all of your good ideas of how to push the bar forward. Being able to manage projects and not only present an idea, but help fulfill that idea is needed. And then collaboration, working within your bar entity, but also with the others. So between committees, working with bar staff, working with different sections, etc. And I think the benefits of bar volunteerism are almost endless, but my top ones would be serving the profession, serving the community, making a difference. You are able to build a networking community beyond your immediate office, and then it opens kind of a wealth of opportunities and doors for you that maybe you wouldn't expect when you're just getting involved. And so it is certainly for me personally paid dividends for me professionally and personally. So encourage everyone to get involved however you can. So how can you get involved? Well, one, you can present content for members. So you can send an idea into the CLE committee for a Law for Lunch, like a program we're doing today, or a substantive CLE for annual meeting or one that stands on its own. You can just attend a program. So check your list off today. You've all done that. You're here for the Law for Lunch. You can attend the annual meeting, which our 2026 meeting will be in Sioux City or Sioux Falls. Sorry, I always confuse that up. I grew up in Sioux City. We'll have a save the date at the end of the program. You can join a committee, join a section. You can volunteer for South Dakota Free Legal Answers. You can volunteer with Denise Langley and take an A2J case on a pro bono basis. You can help support some of our member services, our public services, or you can run for office. You can run to be an officer or work as a bar commissioner, or as May mentioned, serve on the Young Lawyers Board of Directors. So as you can see, there's a million ways, a million paths for you to get involved. Specifically joining a committee or section, when this gets distributed out to you, you'll see a full list of all the committees and their mission statements to learn more about who they are and what they do. But they're a great avenue to get involved, kind of a low stakes, high reward, high pay back situation. Each year around the top of the new year, a little bit after, you will get notices in the newsletter that will tell you, hey, committee preferences are coming due. And what that means is you'll get a form either electronically or paper where bar staff, and this will all come from Alyssa, likely I'm looking for her to nod her head. Yes, Alyssa will tell you, tell us what committees you want to be on next year. And you'll mark your preferences. Maybe you'll say Criminal Law Committee 1, Family Law Committee 2, Pattern Jury Instructions Criminal 3. And then you'll send that in by whatever due date Alyssa asks you to get it turned in. And then Alyssa will sit down with Mark as president-elect for next year and go through everyone's preferences, all the committees, and decide where and how there can make space for folks to serve on the committees that they've indicated. Of course, submitting your preference form is not a guarantee that you get what you've asked for in that order, but it's a way for you to indicate to staff and to Mark what you're interested in and where you want to serve, and for them to find an opportunity to try to get folks where they want to be. So watch your newsletters, watch your inbox for that. It's usually, in that after the January, in the kind of early spring timeframe that opportunity will come out, and you can jump into committee service through that. And then there's also a hyperlink here for folks who want to serve as committee chair, so you can learn a little bit more about what's expected of you, because it's a little bit higher level than serving as a committee member. This is an example of what this year's committee preference form looks like. It was, I believe, like a Qualtrics or SurveyMonkey form, so super easy, super slick to go through and fill that out. Of course, we have local bars, which are bar associations specific to cities or counties, and encourage you to check those out. There's, the First Circuit Bar, Second Circuit Women in Law, and those are great. Some of them are super active and a really great opportunity to get involved, especially as a young lawyer. And you can also suggest programming for the CLE committee. Feel free to shoot an email to me or any member of the CLE committee, or send one to Alyssa. And sending an idea is not a blood oath to owning it and doing the labor. You certainly can just say, hey, have we thought about this? And send it off. And the committee can work to try to bring that idea to fruition, whether or not you're able to commit time and labor to it. So with that, Alyssa is going to run through bar resources, specifically website pieces. And you're on
myself off mute. Yep. Sorry about that. So this is just the general login to get into the State Bar website. And once you are past this portion, you'll find yourself in the Info Hub. So this Info Hub, you'll be able to access all the latest announcements, your newsletter, which is really got to look into your newsletter. All of that information is in there. I think we really need to just get excitement around opening it and really going through all the pages, because there's some awesome updates, awesome events, great write-ups by our bar leaders. It'll also be on social media. So that's just one focus point I wanted to hit there. On the top right, oh, there you go. Yep. Top right there, you'll see upcoming events, which you'll be able to register for very quick. You just click register and put in your information. Your name should come up, and it'll send you a confirmation, and you'll be able to either have your links or have reminders set for you. So on the left-hand panel, you'll be able to see all of the resources that the State Bar website has for you. So everything from, like I said, news items, employment ads, if you're looking to make a change, legislative updates, CLE materials, which, for example, after this presentation, I'll be uploading CLE materials onto the website, which you can access if you had to log off early, things of that sort. So there's federal court reporters and so on. And I think you can go to the next slide. It might show. Yeah, there we go. So in order to access contacts for active members, you can hit the active member directory right on the left-hand side there, search by last name, first name, and you can tailor it to customize your results. You can do the same for inactive member directory. And then, of course, you'll have our staff directory and so on. A new addition is our USD Law Students directory. And the reason why there's not everybody on that list is because it was more of a opt-in. If you wanted to be on the list, you'd let us know and you'd be on there. So this is something that the State Bar has been working on. I believe Tracy and Brooklyn, shout out to them who got this together and uploaded to start bridging the gap and creating those relationships between law students and attorneys in our bar. So another item here, under news items, you'd be able to look at the judicial vacancies and all of the newest updates here. And alrighty, if you want to look into your compliance, want to make sure that you are compliant with the Supreme Court rules, you would go under the compliance section. And you can, pretty straightforward, just click under each of these and make sure you are, up to date on ethics opinions and procedures and so on. Alrighty, like I said, there's employment ads. You can stay up to date with that. Those are helpful, and they're updated. I want to say every couple of weeks. I want to say. So any new ones you'll see right up there. And Brooklyn Drews is the one who uploads those. Like I said, newsletter here is its little home. So if you ever want to look at the past newsletter, it's on there. Also, any new members who have just passed the bar and are now in the system, they will be on the newsletter information, so you can keep up to date with that. Alrighty, so to find your committee, So once you're on the committee, you've been through the whole process, you just got your email announcement that, hey, I'm on the Ag Law Committee. In order to access the committee members, all of their contacts, or go to our new platform, which is called Community Forum, you would go to My Info right at the top there, and then look on the right-hand side under Lists and Committees. Once you click on that, it'll take you straight to the community platform, and you'll be able to, it kind of looks like Facebook, just to make that easy. You'll be able to create discussions, stay up to date on upcoming meetings, and so on.
Awesome. Thanks, Alyssa. And then in our last, 4-ish minutes of presentation before we go to questions, we have two awesome folks joining us to tell us a little bit about who they are and how they support the bar. And our first person will be Becky Porter, who I saw a moment ago. But I don't know if she popped off. Oh, yep, you're there. Sorry, Becky. Becky, thanks for jumping on with us. And I'll note your materials are going out to folks in their resources.
Thank you, Tamara. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad everyone is here because you are really what it's all about, the young lawyers. So anyway, my name is Becky Porter, and I'm the director of the South Dakota Lawyers Assistance Program. I am also the chair of Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers. And I'll go into some of the details of that, but everyone who qualifies for our wellness program are bar members, and that's active and inactive, or those that are on conditional admission, who are seeking admission to the bar, law students, UJS employees, and I'm going to really quickly run through a couple other programs that are available to everyone. First, we have the Solace program, and that is a program which assists lawyers, law office personnel, judges, courthouse employees, or law students who have suffered a sudden or catastrophic loss due to some unexpected event, illness, or injury, like a house fire or a cancer diagnosis, etc. And you can contact the state bar and tell them tell them who you're concerned about and how they might benefit. There's a nationwide network of attorneys that are willing to help with clothing, housing, transportation, medical contacts, and a myriad of other solutions. And of course, we also have our All One Health, which provides 3 free counseling sessions to every member, every law student, and 3 free sessions to each individual's spouse or significant other and dependent children. So it really can be a great thing for everybody involved, especially if you have to wait long periods of time for a psychiatric appointment or um, an MS health worker appointment, etc. This is a good stopgap, and it is totally confidential. They do not, you can even use a different name if you want. You just have to tell them that you qualify for this program through the state bar. Finally, then, I want to get just a couple things said about the Lawyers Assistance Committee and Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers. First of all, the Lawyers Assistance Committee is the public state bar committee, and it is focused on well-being and professional satisfaction. They run the coffee group, which is every week on Thursday at 11 Mountain, 12 Central, and all we ask there is what is discussed there stays there. But it's a good place to come and get tips from others in the community. It is open to all bar members. We Also, all the committee services are modeled after the ABA, and they help primarily with education, legislation, etc. And the Lawyers Assistance Committee, I'm sorry, the Lawyers Concern for Lawyers Committee is an adjacent but independent group of the bar. And we assist people on a privilege basis. It's on the same basis as the attorney-client relationship, and that is found under Rule 8.3 of our Model Rules of Professional Conduct. We have an exception to the self-report rule if you're concerned about another colleague and just are worried that something is going on that isn't right. And if you're unable to contact the lawyer themselves, or if you want assistance in how to contact them, please give us a call. My number's in the bar directory and, of course, on the website, and it's 605-391-5191. And we basically now do not just deal with substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, prescription drugs, street drugs, and depression. We have a whole list of other medical conditions which are defined in the statute referred to in Rule 8.3 as any condition that deprives an attorney of the ability to act in compliance with the rules of professional conduct and any other standards required of practicing attorneys. And so that could be anything from a traumatic brain injury to cancer to ADA to Crohn's disease to, I mean, it just covers the works. And frankly, everyone in this room and everyone in the bar is just a step away from needing those services. These services may just be needed on a transactional basis. It may be that you've lost someone that's very dear to you and don't know who to contact and need help with whatever's going on in your personal and professional life, because it all has to do with your competence as a lawyer. And we also have some statutes that were enacted under SDCL 1617A sections 1 through 4, and they also define impairment and confidential information, immunity for assistance, and this immunity by the volunteers of Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers, who are all lawyers who have been there. They have managed either alcohol use, drug use, depression, anxiety, etc. And so they understand. And I really encourage you to check on those authorities to give you some solace, but the privilege extends to everyone who calls in, all referrals, and of course the attorney themselves. So I would just really encourage you to, even if you just need to talk to somebody, give us a call. Because at least, you can rest assured that it won't go anywhere. And hopefully, Tamara, I didn't go too far over here, but I think those are the basic highlights.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Becky. And I'll direct folks to when the slides go out, you'll have Becky's phone number and email, a link to our bar landing page, as well as materials that Becky put together for each of you. And to wind us down is one of my favorite folks. One of the best things about our bar is the community that we foster and that we have. And one of our committees that is specifically tethered into that is our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. So Jillian Smith is our committee chair, and she's just here to tell us about that committee and how you might consider getting involved with that. Jillian?
Hello, thanks for the invitation to be here with you all today. I'm really excited to see some of the new lawyers here. I qualify as SDYL myself, with definitely within the 10 years of practice and barely within the being under 36. So it's really good to hear all the different resources that are available and all the different ways people can get involved. Like others have said, I kind of wish I got involved a bit sooner, but I am really happy to have gotten more involved this year, and I'm excited about the things going on. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee has about 25 or so members this year. We've had one meeting and then some follow-ups with smaller groups to work on different things. We've had about, I would say, like at least a third of the membership come to that meeting, which is really good to see that level of involvement. I won't go through and read our mission statement because I know you're getting a link with all the mission statements, but I would just say that it fits in with the bigger pieces of what the bar more broadly is working on as far as civility and making sure we have this collegial professional relationship established within the bar and different parts of the bar. One thing I like about our mission statement is that it focuses on full and equal participation, not just in the state bar and in the profession, but in the justice system. So I think that's pretty broad. I think it goes to law students all the way up to, the Supreme Court. And we have a bunch of different dimensions across which people vary. And we specifically look to ways that we can make sure everybody feels comfortable and welcome and able to be active in our profession. One of our major focuses is working with the affinity groups at the law school. We've sponsored an event for Balsa so far. We've also been in touch with the presidents of different affinity groups to see how we can help. One major thing that we do, and this is a pitch for why it would be great to be involved with our committee, is to just show up, to try to be a presence and make sure that the law students know that they have support from members of the bar and that what they're doing and working on and who they are is important. And so if you could see yourself being someone who can, sometimes make it to Vermilion perhaps to attend events at the law school or to be someone that students can reach out to, then this might be a committee that would be for you. I also have my contact information up here. I would welcome emails at any time. Also, phone calls are fine. My number is 605-407-3021, and I can put that in the chat. And I'm happy to talk to anybody at any time, especially if someone's feeling like they don't know who to connect with, to find people like them or people who care about specifically what's going on in their life or with a group that they're a member of within the state of South Dakota. I'd be happy to try and make connections.
Awesome. Thanks, Jillian. Before we turn to questions, I'll just note that you'll get some quick references to some highlights, many of which we went through. And then just another friendly reminder, June 24 to 26, we will be gathering in Sioux Falls for our annual bar convention, which will be a great time. We will also be celebrating the law school anniversary, so there'll be fantastic and fun events to celebrate and attend. So with that, we would be delighted, May and I would be delighted to answer any questions that anyone might have about getting involved in the bar, how our bar functions and operates. We have several members of our staff on, so if we don't know, I'm certain they do. Or just how to find a resource, sorry. So feel free to ask if you have them. Also, I think it's safe to speak for both May and I. You're welcome to email either of us if you have questions or want to grab a coffee or jump on Zoom and talk more about anything with the bar or getting involved or our path in bar leadership. Would just encourage each of you to get involved. Each of us are the fundamental piece that makes the bar special and makes it work, and kind of furthers and advances our mission. So know that there's a place for you that fits and would advance whatever passion or interest you have. So it's just a matter of figuring out where you want to be and how you fit into that. All right, seeing no questions, I don't want to hold anyone hostage. Yeah, Alyssa, go for it.
Yeah, I just have one quick question. I'm only asking because I've had about 3 or 4 new members ask, how do I get on the YLS board? What's the process? So, hand that over to you.
Yeah, thanks for that question. So, around May, we'll put out a call for nominations. for the board seats that are up for election this year. And we'll hold an election at our annual meeting at the State Bar Convention in June. So, but we do have opportunities if you want to be involved with the board, but not hold a board position. We have started a program called YLS Ambassadors. And so if you'd like to get involved in the meantime, or just want to dip your toes in the water, you can reach out to me or any member of our board, and we can figure out how you could best promote YLS events and be involved in our decision making and things like that. So
Awesome. Great question. Well, we look forward to everyone finding their path and how they get involved, to seeing you at the annual meeting. Reach out to May and I if you have questions or if we can support you at all. Thanks for being on. Thanks to May, my co-presenter, to Alyssa for all your work, and to all of our bar staff. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to our bar staff. We will be sending out the materials and the slides from today to each of you after the program, as well as a super short evaluation, I promise. I think it's like 3 questions. Please fill that out. It helps us work to make things better and improve future programming. And a recording of the programming will also go on the State Bar's YouTube account in the coming days. So feel free to share it. And with that, we just thank y'all for joining us and being on, and we appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you get more involved in the bar. Take care.